Okay. So tell me who you are and what has happened.
Okay, I'm Rundy Purdy, and I, at 24 years old, moved in with my grandpa to take care of him when he was dealing with Alzheimer's. I took care of him for 3 years up to his death.
Okay. What was your biggest impression from your time working with him?
Alzheimer's is hard. That's first impression of taking care of someone who faces that disease. But I guess maybe the biggest impression, that's a first impression, but my biggest impression would be that taking care of someone with Alzheimer's is a very meaningful experience. A lot of people talk about Alzheimer's caregiving as being rewarding, and I suppose I could see using that kind of language. That kind of makes it seem like it's a monetary kind of gain, like rewarding is the sense that you end up with a nice stack of coins you can count and say, yeah, Alzheimer's was rewarding. But I think it more is meaningful because it's more like a life-changing experience. Like you come through it a different person, a person who's richer in the understanding of other people and of life. So I would say, that's why I would say is my biggest thing come from it. But I would say that also being a caregiver and experiencing Alzheimer's teaches you to be more sensitive to other people, to be more understanding of what's going on in lives, whether it be your own life, caregiving for that person, or whether it be their life. So I'd say the caregiving experience for me made me more thoughtful of what life is like for people, myself and the person that's caregiving for.
Okay. Now, another question I have is, what do you most feel like you wish somebody, what do you feel like you gained out of this that now you'd like to give someone else that they have going into this? Like, what do you wish that you knew before about this that now you want to share with somebody else as they're going through it, that you would have made you feel like you were more grounded in your experience?
Probably there's a number of things I'd like to, but I guess the number one thing, if I had to bring it down to one thing, is I say that, yes, Alzheimer's is scary going into it, but I think I would say it's not as monstrous as we think it's going to be being from a distance from it. If the person going through it is still human, they're still your relative, they're still the person you care for, and so it's not as monstrous. I'd say that Alzheimer's is more human than we think it is from a distance. And so what I want to share with other people is that it's still a human thing. You're still going through something. You're still interacting with the people. It's still life. It's not this horrible thing that we imagine to be. Not to make it light of it, not to say that it's easy, but that it's worthwhile because the person is still that person you care about, and it's still an experience with them that has a value just like any other experience you had with them before. Going on vacation, growing up together, or being married to them. It's the next stage in that relationship, but it's still a relationship with the person. It's not this horrible nightmare only.
What is one of the hardest things you felt like you had to experience when you were taking care of your grandfather?
Probably I'd say
hardest for him or hardest for you. What was the hardest thing of the whole package?
I would say probably the hardest thing in a caregiving experience is the sadness and loss that you see in the other person. Because you as a caregiver, you're losing that person, yes. So I guess it's hard to abstract their loss from your loss. But the hardest thing I think in seeing is you see the other person. You see their sadness. You see their loss. You're going to go on. You have all your abilities, and you have all your abilities when they're gone. But you're seeing them losing something permanently. They'll never get back what they had. And their loss, their grief, I think, is usually the hardest thing. And so I think the kind of number one struggle that I saw, that I experienced, is trying to help the other person through their loss and being able to, in a sense, comfort them, not just in a there kind of sense, but in a sense of saying that, there's more than what you've lost to life. There's more than your dignity. There's more than your strength. There's more than your intelligence to life and to why you're valuable.